Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21. We're back in career mode, it's round 9, right here in the Sachsenring in Moto 3. So of course, a magnificent finish last time out in Catalonia. I will not spoil it for you, just in case you haven't quite seen that one just yet. But if you haven't, I would probably suggest you nip over there right now and watch it now, just in case there's any spoilers in today's video. So of course, World Championship lead is Grant's right now, and we had a fantastic performance in Catalonia. Can we do the same right here in round 9 at the Sachsenring? Now, in previous installments of MotoGP, Sachsenring is certainly not my best track. It's a fantastic track, it's a very difficult and demanding circuit, one with about 9 left-handers and about 3 right turns, I do believe. It's not very many. It's a lot on the left-hand side of the tyre. The left-hand side takes an absolute pounding through the practice sessions, through the qualifying, and most certainly in the race. Now, it's a difficult track. It's probably one of those tough ones to master because it's a very fast and flowing corners with a lot of stop and starting as well. So it's a bit of everything. There's a lot of uniqueness going around here in the German Grand Prix, but I'm eager to see how we can do, and if we can keep that momentum going from Catalonia and even great races such as in Le Mans. So now onto the left-hand side for the Saxon curve, down the waterfall as they say for turn 12, getting closer and closer to the outside of the track, and we have indeed invalidated that first lap, so that will not count. But as I've always said in the past, just because you've invalidated does not mean you have to just immediately back out and go to the pits. Still complete the lap and see what your pace is looking at right now, and as you can see we have set a 129.488, which would be better than Andrea Migno's current top spot, which is 130.080. So going into turn 1, they one of very few many right-handers, turn 1 of course being one of them. Turn 3 in a moment's time is also on the right-hand side of the tyre. Now after being on this left-hand side of the tyre so much and then accelerating so long on the main straight, your right-hand side of your tyre can get pretty cool, so be careful when accelerating too hard there in those right-hand corners. Now onto the left-hand side for turn 5 and then to turn 6. Continue to hold the line. It's very easy to run onto the rumble strip there, and thankfully that rumble strip is quite flat, but also sort of banked to let you sort of glide you into the next corner. It does a great job. The curves in Sachsenring are pretty good compared to what I've seen in some of the others, like the one in Mugello, which we had the horrific crash. There are a few here in the Sachsenring I would probably avoid. The one on the inside of turn 10 seems to be absolutely fine, but then there are a couple, especially towards the end of the lap, so after the waterfall section that we're here now. Once we go into the left-hand side for turn 12, it can be quite treacherous on there. You will see the AI crash there a couple of times as they get closer and closer to the rumble strips. But this was a damn decent lap, and I actually didn't realise that we did invalidate this particular lap. But we are going to continue going, so strangely enough, and oddly enough, I don't think I've ever actually completed 2 invalidated laps in a row. Probably by that point I would have already restarted. So what we'll do is we'll jump back into the pits and change our tyres. Let's get some fresh ones on there and see how we perform with a fresh set of rubbers. So Darren Binder is leading the group as it stands right now. He is on a 128.963 as we get ever so closer to the CIP Racing Honda. I do believe that. Oh my goodness! He decided to fight me in the middle of the corner there, old Keita Toba. Was a magnificent rider, won in Qatar a couple of years ago. Not really seen him up to his best recently, but give him time, I'm sure he'll bounce back and get fighting with the best of them once again. Do believe he was pretty good in Le Mans last time we've seen him, so we are still on a personal best lap right now. Of course, still rocking power setting 1. We are only using power setting 1, of course that has made the content even better in my opinion, and it definitely seems like you guys are enjoying it too. So fingers crossed that we can keep this momentum going and continue to take victory on power setting 1. A little bit close to the outside there, then we went on the inside and invalidated a 3rd lap in succession. Now, cast your minds back to any other DrAce video and I do not think you will ever see 3 invalidated laps in a row. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you will. So take a picture of that one if you want and save it for the archive, because it's obviously not my best performance, but I still will continue to push on, because I do believe I have a lot of learning to do in the Sachsenring. It's one of those tracks I always tend to avoid. If I'm going to be doing a MotoGP video, if I want to just play the game for a little bit, I probably won't do the Sachsenring. It's probably one of the last couple of corners, one of the last couple of tracks that I would even consider doing So, yes, do with that information as you will. We're here in the Sachsenring for round 9 of the Moto3 World Championship on MotoGP 21, giving it our best shot, of course, with the power setting on 1. Running the soft front tyre and the medium rear as things stand. And as you can see with the medium tyre, even on the rear, it is getting extremely toasty, really warm, and it's just simply due to the way you have to go aggressive in those particular corners. Coming out in those sort of small, light left-hand turns into the tight right-handers, you do feel that you want to give it some extra boost, some extra throttle, but if you do, just be careful, because of course you will burn up the tyre very, very quickly. Now running onto the rumble strip there, they went all chattering onto us there, did you see that one? And we run it wide again and we go on the invalidated lap. So that is another lap we have invalidated, but there is a positive. Those lap times are extremely consistent. We have a 1:29.4 invalidated, a 1:29.4 invalidated, and a 1:29.1, which is equally invalidated. However, that pace is good. So regardless whether we're invalidating laps, this is effectively race pace. Now it's important to make sure you're doing your race pace. You're racing on you're going to be racing on very worn tyres during the Grand Prix. So continue to push no matter what. And then we did actually improve our lap time there. Granted, excuse the pun, we will not actually be featuring on the leaderboard just yet, but the point is that we are still making good pace and good progress for Sunday's race, which will be coming at 8 PM tonight, so do stay tuned for that one, and stay ace and subscribe if you haven't done already. Now's a great time to do so. Now onto the right hand side of the tyre for Omega, getting closer and closer to the rumble strip on the inside there. Do be careful if you run onto there because you will lose the front. We are now changing the tyres over as well, which I neglected to mention. We're running a soft front and a hard rear this time, and can you believe it? We've invalidated another lap. Absolutely phenomenal. I was doing this video and I was thinking to myself, how on earth have I managed to invalidate 5 laps in a row, but still maintain pretty good pace? And I'm not exactly gaining any advantage from abusing these track limits. It's simply just pushing too hard, learning the sort of feeling. And so, you know what, one thing was really caught me off guard. As I was playing Ride 4 just a couple of hours before I decided to do this video, the new DLC pack came out, so I wanted to try it out. And you know what? It really threw me off. I couldn't get used to Ride 4, and then when I came back to Moto 3 here in MotoGP 21, I just felt awful. I just couldn't get the braking zones, couldn't seem to get the markers right. And finally, we eventually do get it, of course, but I'd say another improved lap right there. And that consistency, regardless whether we have actually made a couple of mistakes in invalidated laps, it's still really, really confidence bringing. It's really confidence inducing. It's great, you know, obviously learning my own skills and seeing the pace increase and stuff like that. I've always mentioned it in the channel, such as like Lorenzo, etc., and a couple of riders to his caliber. I think even Stoner used to do it on the Ducati sometimes, etc., and Marquez even does it in Austin, apologies. And that is just constant consistency. Getting closer and closer to the same lap times or similar enough, adding a few extra tenths here and there, removing a couple of tenths here and there. That is consistent. Consistency is just great. I love it. That's what I thrive to do every single time I bring onto my DualShock 4 controller and record some MotoGP 21 or even Ride 4 gameplay. So Gabriel Rodrigo is ahead of us right now. Hopefully it doesn't hinder our performance too much, and we're not really going to get much of a slipstream going into the waterfall section, but it will be enough. It will be a small boost going into the Saxon curve for turn 12. Now onto the left-hand side of the tyre, braking very hard. And as you can see in the front soft tyre, the left has absolutely nothing left. Now going into the final corner for the Queckenberg, turn 13, give it everything we've got, going over to the rise. Can we get into the top spots? You betcha! 128.587, the only valid lap. So now we're going to move on to qualifying because absolutely nothing else changed. We still stand at the top, very, very pretty, with our top time of the session. And we now move on to qualifying, into qualifying 2, of course, and we'll find out who's joining us in Q2. So John McPhee, Keita Toba, Ayumi Sasaki and Dennis Foggia move from qualifying 1 up with the big boys in qualifying 2, and the favourites currently stand as Grant Binder and Pedro Acosta. So qualifying time, we need to turn that fast race pace consistency into pole position here today. After invalidating 5 laps on the bounce, taking pole position would simply just take your history book and the last 10 minutes of this video and put it in the bin. Because it won't even matter that we validated so many laps. It won't even matter our race pace. The only thing that matters will be starting this Sachsenring Grand Prix from numero uno spot. So that's what we want to be doing here today, right here in the German Grand Prix. Now onto the left-hand side, we are up into Sector 1, of course. Identically, I do believe Gabriel Rodrigo set a 1:30.080, which was the same as Darren Binder's time in Free Practice 1. So that's pretty cool, unless that's just a common glitch, I'm not even sure. Now onto the left-hand side for turn 8. I wonder if we'll go closer and closer to the outside of the line there, because of course you can go wider, as I did mention earlier on. You sort of go wide and then use the rumble strip to sort of bounce yourself into the corner. Didn't do it that time because it wasn't necessary, but going into turn 11, this is where I am concerned for the main Grand Prix. Coming out of that sector there, you can pick up a lot of speed, but bear in mind with... Oh, someone's gone down ahead of us. Actually, Dennis Fodju's gone down. The Leopard racer has gone down into the bin. He is back up onto his motorcycle already and he's ready to compete. But of course, as I was saying, power setting 1 is going to be a hindrance going down that downhill section, but across the line we go now, and it's a 1:28.542, which is a pretty damn decent lap. Already 1.5 seconds clear of Gabriel Rodrigo, so I'm pretty pleased with that performance so far. I'm happy with that. The main goal is to get on the front couple of rows. Being in setting 1, power setting 1 of course, as I've mentioned many a times, as you guys now are pretty much well and truly aware of, it's difficult to get through on the guys, especially going onto the starting grid. Now being further behind and trying to chase the way through and sort of push your way past people, it can be a little bit difficult when you're on power setting 1. It's not as simple, not as easy as power setting 3. So starting further back on the grid could make it a little bit more difficult. So maybe that will have to be done sooner or later. But Gabriel Rodrigo, Ethan Guevara and Xavi Artigas all on good sector times here. Sector 1, that is, same as Jaume Masia. Now Jaume Masia has been a bit of a dark horse this season because I want to say he's been really competitive, but his championship standings don't really look that way. The main favourites you've got to believe are obviously Grant, Gabriel Rodrigo, Darren Binder and John McPhee. Pedro Acosta's been there, but near enough. But we'll see how things progress for the rest of the season, of course, because we only are pretty much 50% of the duration. There you go, there's another ride who's gone down in that final sector. That is Sergio Garcia who's gone down. He's going to actually get in the way of me here. He needs to move out of the way now, but otherwise he's going to cause carnage! Oh my god! What a lap time ruined. We were up by a nice chunky amount there, and that lap time has well and truly been shoved in the bin as Sergio Garcia decided to go silly and hit us in the corner. So now Grant somehow found himself up behind Darren Binder as Andrea Mino has just gone top now. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrea Mino on provisional pole as things stand with a 1:28.468, a phenomenal lap from the young Italian as Binder goes wide into turn 1. That's pretty much his lap already ruined as Grant is on the tail of Darren Binder. The South African and Grant, of course, have got history, especially considering how Catalonia ended just a couple of days ago. Darren Binder is still actually on a very fast sector there. He's on his fastest sector of the whole race and whole qualifying session, rather. And we, not so much. We struggled a little bit. So, of course, the second lap, as you're seeing there on the top right-hand corner of your screen, is a 1:37.717. That is the lap that Sergio Garcia went kamikaze mode on us, and therefore we went straight into the pits, as you saw. Now onto the left-hand side of the tyre for turn 8. Getting into the slipstream of Darren Binder, we're now going to get a really good look to see how well the slipstream will affect us. So getting close to the rumble strip, can we potentially go wide then flick up on the inside? Not quite, but we get closer and closer to Darren Binder, but still, we were in the slipstream all the way through them corners and Binder is still ahead of us. I'm a little bit concerned for the Grand Prix, especially because Binder gets out of shape. Oh, Binder's down! Binder's down into the Saxon curve. A brilliant lap has ended in tears for the South African, and he will not be improving his lap time. He stays in fourth for the time being. Grant goes a little bit wide, a bit of a slide there. Now across the line, do we improve? We do not. We improved by, well, sorry, we took a loss by 0.04 of a second, and we still remain 74,000 of a second behind the young Italian, the Rivacol Viennese snipers rider, Andrea Mino. Now into Sector 1 for the very last time, I should imagine. In fact, we probably will get 2 more laps. One this lap and then one extra one after this one, if we can keep it going. Into Sector 1, we were a little bit quicker as a personal best, but not quite enough to dethrone Andrea Mino in the first sector. Now onto the left-hand side of the tyre for turn 5. Of course, the front tyre is looking a bit bleak now, but we are up by 0.3 of a second, so a cracking lap coming here from Grant. Is this going to be pole number whatever? Pole number 6, I think it is. Pole number 5, I'm not even sure. I've lost count. Up by 17,000 of a second. Dropped it down a gear, getting onto the bumpy part. Now onto the left-hand side for turn 9. Run it a little bit wide, then chuck it on the inside to be dead tight. Great stuff. This could be a pole lap, ladies and gentlemen. This could be it. Turn 11. Charging towards the final couple of corners now. Into the Saxon curve after the downhill section. This could be another pole lap. Do we gone wide? Oh, we've run it too wide. As long as we don't go into the green, we should be absolutely fine. And they have a regularity. So on that bombshell, for some reason invalidating the next lap as well, that is my session done for. And therefore, Andrea Migno has my number and has beaten me here today in qualifying session. So the grid tomorrow, Andrea Migno in pole position. Grant and John McPhee will be on the front. And of course, Darren Binder, who struggled to finish his lap, is down in 6th place. So interesting session. As you can see, not many riders actually put in very fast lap times. A bit odd. But there you go. It is what it is. So guys, as always, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single DrAce upload. And upon that note, guys, thanks for watching and ciao for now. Oh hi! Didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.